Whoops, it's calling. Hey, how's it going?
Hello, it's good. How are you?
Not too bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna fix this up on our screen.
Sorry if it's loud. I'm at Starbucks.
Oh, are you in a Starbucks? No shit.
Yeah, I was out to dinner, so I was like, I have to make this time frame. So.
No, hey, it's much appreciated. It's all good. As long as the Wi-Fi looks pretty good, right, Randy?
No, yeah, it's working. It's working for me.
Okay, so if I think in terms of buffering, as long as we don't have too much passing in front of the camera, it doesn't buffer, then it stays pretty clean.
Okay.
Right, Randy? What do you think?
Yeah,
you looking good, buddy?
Yeah, I think we're alright. As long as she doesn't move around too much, we're good.
Sounds good. And
okay, so is it more like my voice that matters than you? Because they won't see me on a podcast, right?
Oh, they'll see you. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
No, you look good. It's all good. Don't worry.
Like in the biggest sweater I own.
It's all good.
I was like, oh, it's a podcast. They're only going to hear me.
No. So what happens is, so can you see me right now? You can see me,
yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you see me, but you're actually on a monitor, and I'm going to be talking to the monitor, okay? And Randy's on the other side of the table. He's also talking to the monitor. So when people are watching the video, it's going to be all about, like, we're talking to you on a big monitor. It looks like we're having a conversation.
Okay, is this live?
No. No, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
All over China. 1 billion people. No. It's, we'll probably drop it within a week. Do some tight edits here and there. Nothing major.
So the biggest part is if you can tip that up just a little bit more towards your face, and if you can do a huge favor, try to keep your hands out of the view.
There we go.
You're
good to go.
It's hard, but it's just like, because if it buffers a lot, then all they get is like a digitized screen of you. Like it's all, yeah.
There we go.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so I guess let's
start
her up. So, just for a quick recap, anyone who's watching, Juggernaut athlete Ewa, the Deadlift Diva. Can you do a quick recap on some of your competition numbers? Maybe some of the competitions that you've been in?
Sure. So my last competition, hands on my face, hold on. The last competition that I competed in was USAPL Raw Nationals, where I squatted 330, I benched 171, and I pulled 430. I went for 440, but I missed for the first time ever in a meet. I missed the deadlift.
Whoa, really? You've never missed one in a meet?
Never, ever in a meet have I ever missed a deadlift until this nationals. And honestly, like I think 440 was there. I mean, I pulled 475 off of like a 4-inch block, 3-inch block, 2-inch block. So it's there, but it's a mental game as well, and it'll be there soon. I'm not concerned.
It's a long day too. I mean, frick.
For the people who don't know, what body weight do you compete at?
I compete as a 63 kilo lifter, so 138 pounds. 138.8 to be exact, but
that's pretty impressive stuff. And you've made the U.S. national team before and gone to the IPF Worlds?
I have as a junior. I was not first string, but you know, when people can't make it for financial reasons or whatnot, then they actually just ask the next person in line with the highest wilks, and that was me. So I had gone as a junior. But listen, I'm still young. I'm only 25. The world is my oyster. Right? So I have.
That's what you have when you're 25 years old. Everything's in front of you. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you start getting into powerlifting?
I actually was a collegiate athlete. I played soccer through college, and I had torn my right ACL when I was in high school, tore my left ACL when I was in college, and then my current coach, Ryan Gleason, he's the one who kind of rehabilitated my knees, and he signed me up for a meet without even telling me, and I kind of just... I had to compete because he gave me no other choice, and I fell in love with it immediately. So
yeah. And how old were you then?
I competed my first time in 2013, so I was 21.
Oh, no kidding. So that's a pretty quick. Like, have you always been deadlifting this much?
No. So like my conventional, I'm pretty sure in 2014, my conventional was like 300 pounds, and I was like, yeah, 300 club, you know. And then after that nationals, my first nationals, we switched to sumo, and I didn't even know that sumo was like a way of pulling. And and I had like a 70-pound PR or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So sumo it is then, right?
Exactly. It's like either you eat butt or you don't. So.
Yeah. So obviously sumo or deadlift is your number one of the 3 lifts, and it's the one you hang your hat on for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I could probably pull 400 at this point, sumo, but I mean conventional, but sumo for sure is like my predominant strongest lift for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And was that always the case once you started powerlifting?
Well, I didn't really know about it until Ryan had brought it up. So I pulled conventional pretty much until he switched me over. And then after that had happened, that's when I kind of was like, okay, let me try other things. So once he actually introduced me to sumo, I was like, okay, well, what about low bar? I was like, what about wide grip benching? And then it kind of like flowed from there.
Yeah. So when did you start to become the Deadlift Diva? Is that when the sumo was introduced?
That was more when Chad was introduced. He kind of gave me that nickname. But
is that where it came from?
Yeah, Chad Wesley Smith was like Eva the Deadlift Diva. It was so funny. Yeah.
Do you like Eva the Deadlift Diva?
Listen, I can't get away from it, so I have to like.
It's so flippin' catchy though, and you're an amazing deadlifter. It fits, right? Yeah. Good. So how did you end up meeting Chad Wesley Smith?
So I actually was like a hardcore CWS fan for like the majority of my lifting career, and like I wanted nothing more than to be like known to Chad. So I would go to all the seminars and I would participate in like all his like anything that he put out. I read it and I was just constantly on top of it. He was a huge role model for me in terms of lifting in general. I mean, I knew him since like the elite FTS days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I go way back with Chad, and I love Vinny, and I love everybody that is in the sport in general. I really have no qualms against anyone, but Chad in general, the way that he spoke about things and the way that he presented them just kind of resonated with me. So I was like, okay, I love this dude. Like he knows his shit,
Yeah.
So I went to every single seminar that was on the East Coast that you could imagine, and then I kind of reached out and I was like, listen, interested in your company, interested in what you're doing. Like, I'm going to pull over 400 as a 22-year-old at this meet. If that happens, like, are you interested?
Whoa, really? Pressure's on.
No, and honestly, and then he's like, sounds good, kind of thing. He's like, let's see what you got, kind of thing. And then just went from there.
So basically, if you pulled 400, you were a juggernaut athlete. Is that what it was?
I had to do well in the other two. But
Yeah. But that was,
at that time, he was like, okay, listen, like, you're clearly a good squatter. Your bench can come a ways, and it still can. But the deadlift at that time was between me and like 3 other people. So,
How do you think he's going to do on the Coach of the Year award? Do you think he's taking that one?
He better. I mean, I think, honestly, out of that crew of people, Gene Bell, I mean, besides for him, I mean, who's, I don't know, personally speaking, when you look at the totals and when you look at the type of training that they do, when you look at the quality of client to coach interaction, when you look at the amount of time invested, when you look at the amount of time that people spend with each other, the amount of time on social media, on advertising, on, there's so many fronts to it at this point in the day and age that we are. How can he lose? I mean, like you would hope he'd win, but at the same time, it's like it's a poll. So
yeah.
Well, the other part is too is, I mean, with Juggernaut, it's not just powerlifting, Olympic lifting. Like there's so many variations of what he does. A lot of these other coaches are strictly powerlifting, and
yeah.
I mean, he took on Kristen Pope. Like there's a few of them. Like
yeah.
I mean, she's not the only one. They have their weightlifting team is disgustingly good. Like they're so good.
Yeah, I seen 2 other.
Kristen, Courtney, you talk about Chucky Welsh, who's just new and she's just fucking killing it. This girl, like wild. She's like, oh, I'm a CrossFitter. I'm just gonna do X, Y, and Z, and then she's like snatching like a ridiculous amount of weight. I'm like, at nowhere. I mean, like everyone is super impressive, and honestly, like in addition to Chad, they now have Marissa, who's coming there constantly, and also Max. And Max is such a good addition to the team.
Yeah. It's really interesting how Juggernaut has kind of built, like, is revolutionized how they're doing their thing. Like, it's not just a one-on-one coaching like Chad. You have like he's building an empire, almost like a record label with signees, and then like other coaches, and like the way he's expanded in terms of social media and in terms of branding. Like, it's bigger than just him now. Like, Juggernaut is not just him. I think Juggernaut, it's like fucking like Bad Boy Records in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like you got yourself your Marissa Indes and your Deadlift Divas and like the whole, like, I don't know, man.
Well, it's a franchise. Like, he's literally franchising it out as Juggernaut Training. So.
Yeah. And
I mean, I think personally, I think he's always had that vision for it. I mean, he's always seen beyond himself, and he had his own powerlifting career, but he always said, okay, like, my career is here. My career is going to be short because he just cares about other people before himself, and that's such a rare thing for someone to do. Yeah. It's like so valuable, and he honestly is like, especially with Marissa's progress, he's like taken it on as his own, and it's just so nice to see that someone like actually cares that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. That's the biggest thing with coaches. Like, a lot of people can give you a cookie cutter program, and here you go, you're off to the races. Do it, it'll work because it's worked for a bunch of other people. But there's something else when you get that coach that, like, you hit him up and be like, dude, I'm off weight, or I'm crashing in terms of this, like, my CNS isn't responding, whatever the hell, and they hit you back, and that's when the real coaching begins. You know,
yeah, and I mean, he's made so many connections with other people, like Nick Shaw, who's my nutrition coach. He works with Ryan, who is my actual, like, lifting coach. They work together to build a lot of my programs, and, like, you know, if they bounce ideas off of each other. So he's not one to kind of like disregard other people's ideas about what they should be doing, which is also valuable. I mean, in terms of lifting itself, how do you supersede him? It's kind of hard. I mean, like, my coach Ryan learned a lot of what he learned from him, and we do a lot of things that Chad would do. And again, they do bounce ideas off of each other, so I really respect both of their opinions and both of their coaching styles. And in terms of actually making connections, like, there's no one better than Chad. I mean, he's working with Trifecta, he's working with Art P, he's working with Max, who's in the, you know, USAW world. So there's just so many venues and so many open doors and opportunities for Juggernaut to grow that it's like the best place to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, no kid. So, how long have you been with Juggernaut now?
2 years now. It's gonna be 2. Yep.
2 years, is that it, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of the goals you have? So the U.S. Nationals is come and gone. What are some of the next meets that you're looking for in 2017 that you're prepping for right now?
Okay, so I talk about this all the time, and I have a lot of, like, health problems, but disregarding my health issues, whether or not I can actually cut weight and whether or not I can actually, you know, like, train consistently, because I have, like, immune problems and, you know, a lot of crap that other people don't necessarily have to deal with. But hopefully my next meet, and this is, you heard it first kind of thing.
Nice. Exclusive.
I know, exclusive info. It's hopefully in May at my home gym in Derby at Gleason Performance Training. I'm hoping to compete as a 63, but if I don't make weight, then I'm not really going to care. It's for fun. It's to get on the platform. It's to hit some numbers. I recently was like a couple days ago, 335 squat. That was like a joke, like a complete joke. Wow. So hopefully, like, looking for like 352 to like 360 range. I mean, obviously I weigh a little more right now, but it's still on my radar. Looking to get above a 171 bench. I still struggle with the bench press. A lot of it is form, so hopefully that'll improve. And then deadlift wise, I always make that kind of like an up for grabs kind of lift. It's like, we'll see what happens.
An up for grabs kind of YOLO, the last fucking rep.
Pretty much. It's like, oh, what do I need to win? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, pull for the gold. Nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
In terms of, because you are known as the deadlift, and if we could get into it, I know anyone watching, they're going to want some deadlift tips.
Yeah, sure.
So if we would maybe look at what are some of the things you would give a beginner, and then we'll talk a little bit about programming and maybe some secrets you use, like if you do block pulls, you were saying, or partials, etc. But what's if we're going to start off basic, and you're just starting a deadlift, what are some pointers you might give somebody?
All right. Can I, like, do a pause break to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I came from dinner. Hold on one second.
It's all good.
I don't know how to put this. I'm just gonna put it here.
That's amazing.
That's a first one.
I'll be like, take us in there.
I was wondering if she's bouncing around, so I was wondering if she had to take a piss or something.
Yeah. 2013 is when she started. That's when IPF went raw. So the IPF did a tester in 2012. This is the very first time the IPF ever held a meet. 2012, they did like a tester called the World Cup. It wasn't a World Championship. There was no like nationals leading up to yet. It wasn't like solidified, but they said we're gonna run this, see what happens. Okay, so all eyeballs were watching. Then 2013, full on, we opened it up. That's when the explosion happened, and the fucking numbers. You know how many people, when you ask, when did you start? You know how many people are 2013, 2014? Like a slew of them. That was really the big one. Kathleen, whatever. It's huge, especially with women. It was tougher to convince women to go into gear and stuff like that. But that was the year, man. 2013. Significant. I remember seeing it. I see because I was there before. The difference in participation. How many people? It's nuts. Social media.
You mean one per category? Like
sometimes it would, yeah. I'll tell you stories about Alex.
None.
Sometimes, yeah. I would show up. Sometimes it'd be like me, or it'd be me, one other guy. Sometimes it'd be a few guys. Alex, would show up. This is when it was geared. So he was in the IPF. I would be in the raw feds, but he would show up as one other dude for provincials. All right, and then Alex, if I could talk about my mental for a second. He was so far ahead of the other guy, just to make competitive. He went raw, the other guy went geared, and Alex won. Fucking, he was a beast at the time. But, now you couldn't do that kind of shit. The talent pool is massive. You show up, there'll be a shitload of guys at your provincials, and you're not fronting nobody 300 pounds. Different athletes.
Don't, if you leave me here. Okay.
What's on your back?
I'm with a friend. He's like, "Can I sit in your car?" I was like, "If you leave me here, you're dead." Because I drove. Okay, so tips I would give to a beginner. What else were we talking about?
Well, first that, and then we'll kind of talk about like how often to dead and kind of rep ranges, when you use partials. Because for a lot of people, time in that deadlift, the deadlift really taxes that central nervous system. So kind of like programming wise, you don't have to get overly specific if you don't want to, but what would you suggest? How many times, sets, rep ranges, stuff like that?
Okay, so biggest tip for beginners is like focus on form, and the number one thing not even in the deadlift, just in all lifts across the board, like don't neglect. If we're speaking deadlift specific, don't neglect keeping your lats tight. Don't neglect where you put your hands on the bar. Don't neglect where you put your feet. How wide you go, trying sumo, trying conventional. And I don't mean trying like, oh, I did it one day and it sucked. Yeah. No, you need like a 6 to 12 week cycle to like actually know if it's working. So patience is a virtue, and I firmly believe you need to be patient when it comes to those lifts. Like for me, it was literally like a day and I knew. For some people, it's not like that. Like we have, I don't know if you know of Carlos Reyes. He doesn't compete USAPL, but he competes otherwise in other federations, and he's extremely strong. He competed at the Arnold XPC, I believe, last year. I forget which federation he does. He does a bunch of them, but he pulled conventional like his whole life, and then he's like, I think I'm gonna switch to sumo. Initially he was like, this is awkward, I don't know if I like it, and then like as he was doing it in training, he's like, holy crap, like I'm so much stronger in this lift. It comes with time to some people, and others it's like me where it's like instant, so realistically it depends. So give yourself 6 to 12 weeks in that range. And in terms of actually being good at pulling, like it's kind of a lift where you either have balls or you don't. So it's like, if you're nervous coming up to the bar, like likelihood is you're not going to get it off the ground. Like it's not something that like a squat where you're like, I could just like screw this and just like you know, if I drop it, whatever. Like, this is like, it's either coming off the ground or it's not, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to just commit. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable. Like, yeah, lifting is uncomfortable. Like, that's what it is. It's, if you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, you're not going to be a good lifter.
Yeah.
So, and I think like, so one person who I always kind of look up to in terms of deadlift, well, there's two people. One of them, they're both kind of like, sort of on opposite ends of the spectrum. So like, obviously Kim Walford, like the best lifter in terms of the deadlift that you can possibly think of. Yeah. Does she have the prettiest form? No, and she knows that. And she doesn't care because she knows she's going to get the lift.
Yeah.
But she does the training in the appropriate manner. She does everything she needs to do to make it a solid lift. And then on the other hand, like people I look up to, like someone like Kate Ann, she is a very excellent squatter. She's a very good bencher. She's a good deadlifter. In terms of the deadlift, like her form isn't perfection, but she addresses it, and every single time she does it, she makes it better. And like that's what people have to realize. It's like you have to go into the lift every single time, actively thinking about what you're doing. It's not just like rip and grip. I hated that my whole life. Every time that I've lifted, it's like, oh, rip and grip, rip and grip.
I know. No, like, I hate that saying. I hate that saying. It's so wrong.
It's so dumb. And like, I understand that like the deadlift is not the most technical out of the three lifts. It's actually probably like the least technical of the three. But in terms of like executing, like you have to have a plan. Yeah. You can't just go in there and be like, yeah, let me just pull this 700-pound pull. Like, no, that's not going to happen. You know, like unless you have mentally prepared, physically prepared, done the accessory movements like you've mentioned, it's not going to happen, you know? I mean, in terms, like, you can't just be like, I want this so bad, like, Spartan, and then, like, it's not going to happen. So...
Very well said.
You know?
It is true. I mean, the grip and rip style, that's when people just yank it. As soon as your form goes off, it's like chasing bad money. If you break the ground and your back is rounded, that you're not unrounding that shit. It's over. No. You're not straightening out afterwards. It starts shitty. It's going to end shitty for you. Yeah. So the grip and rip, I hate it when people say that. Just grip and rip, man. It's not that easy.
And there are a few people who I know that, like, one person I know, his name is Dylan Anderson. It could be 135, the kid's gonna round. Like, that's just how he is. Yeah. But, like, if you know that physically that's how your body is, then that's one thing. But if you know that you have perfect form until you reach, like, 300 pounds and all of a sudden you're rounding, like, that should tell you something. Like, you should be able to have perfect form throughout. If you're just physically immobile or incapable or unstable, that's a different reason. But, you know, there's some flexibility in it. But honestly, like, try to perfect your form. That's what I think the number one thing is, like, focus on form, let the weight come after. Like, plateaus happen. As a beginner, number one thing is, like, as long as you got your form down, the weight will just come naturally. So focus on form.
That's the beautiful thing about beginning, man. The sky is the limit. It's like every time you walk in the gym, you're hitting PRs.
Oh my gosh. I miss being a beginner so much.
Yeah, I know. It's so stress-free. Everything's so brand new. In terms of how often do you deadlift in a week, and what's the volume look like for you?
Okay, so currently I'm still in like it's almost like a secondary hypertrophy block. So like I had hypertrophy 1, I'm kind of in like this hypertrophy 2 phase, and then I'm moving into a strength and peaking block. Peaking, I'm saying that like very loosely because like I might be peaking only until like right before nationals. I might not peak any time before then. That's all inclusive. Or exclusive or whatever.
All inclusive. We're partying, baby.
I don't even know. I'm probably just gonna train through it just because it's a home meet. It's really not. It's more for fun and exposure and just experience. I tell my current clients, like, the more times you can get on the platform, the better, just because, like, the more times that you're out there, the more experience you get, the more comfortable you are being in front of people and, like, actually performing at a high level with all eyes on you, you know? So I like to do it. Plus, it's the only time my family could ever actually see me compete. Yeah. Like, they don't ever travel with me. It's just so expensive. So it's nice when they actually get to come and see me lift. So that's kind of my cycle. So right now I'm pulling 1 time off the floor a week and then 2 variations. So I technically pull 3 days a week at a minimum. And then I do like a 1 day a week like a bodybuilding day where I do like a pen lay row or like a, you know, something like a CSR, something like that, just to like hit my back and lats and tighten my core. You'll see, if you look at my Instagram, you'll see I do block pulls, which you wanted me to touch on anyway. Yeah. So we start from a 4-inch block, we go to a 3-inch block, we go to a 2-inch block, and
same
then
day?
No.
Okay,
this goes like, so if we're looking at a 6-week cycle, which is what I generally follow, we're looking at 4-inch, 4-inch, 3-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch, 2-inch, and then it's like, okay, so you end on a 2-inch block, great. Then you move into your next cycle, and then it's 2-inch, 2-inch, 1, floor. That's like generally how it goes. And then, you know, the goal being you're so confident. It's not even like you're definitely getting stronger over those weeks, but just pulling constant overload from blocks and hitting that similar or a same weight or like a proportional at least weight from the blocks as you decrease. The idea being your confidence now has built you to be able to be prepared to pull from the floor. Does that always happen? No, it's not necessarily like, oh, I pulled 475 of a 4-inch block. I could pull 475 off the floor. Like, absolutely not, you know? Yeah. But there is at least some direct correlation, from what I've noticed at least, from pulling from a block to a floor. Mostly I feel you can see a pretty good correlation between like a 2-inch block and the floor. Like 3-4-inch blocks, it gets kind of, you know, harder to differentiate. But if I'm pulling 435, which I just did this other, if I pull 435 from a 2-inch block pretty easily for like a double without straps, like I should be able to pull that one time from the floor, you know? And a lot of that is saying, hey, I just did this for a double off of, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-inch block as you want this high. Like, I could pull this. I didn't even use straps, whatever it is. So even just putting yourself in that mental state, that goes such a long way. So the blocks might not necessarily help the beginner lifters. They're gonna just benefit from it in general because anything they do is going to help them. Literally, they could like walk across from one side of the room to the other is going to help them. You know what I mean?
Very true.
No, you know what I mean? But if you're an elite lifter, it has less kind of carryover, but at the same time, if you walk in there saying mentally, if your mental strength is saying, I have this lift, like chances are you have that lift. Like you know your capabilities, you know? So a lot of that is overload work so that I can actually get the muscle fibers working, get my body prepared to lift heavy weight, increase the intensity as my volume comes down, which right now it is because I'm going more into this strength block rather than this hypertrophy block. But in the other hand, it's also preparing me mentally to start lifting really heavy weight from the floor.
Yeah. Mentally, you can wrap your head around it. I mean, like you said, even if it's 4 inches off the ground, if you're pulling 475, you can tell yourself, all right, 435 from the floor isn't that scary when I have to move 475.
Exactly.
So you do 3 deadlift days. So that would be block pulls one day, and then the other day, is it more volume or?
Yes. So I kind of I do undulate. You know, I undulate all of my lifts. It's right now I have weekly periodized undulation. So it's essentially. I'm doing each like main lift one time, but then I do accessory movements that are quite similar to that lift like 2 to 3 times. So for deadlift itself, I will have, you know, on my squat day, I will do something like bent over rows to a high amount of weight, you know, overloading that, or like a block pull. Then on my deadlift day, I actually deadlift. On my bench day, I'll do something like a chest supported row where it hits my back, or I'll do pause deadlifts, or I'll do something like, you know, like something banded, which I haven't actually done in a long time, so I guess that's a bad example. But, you know, anything that is a secondary movement that's not actually just like pulling just straight from the floor, but that I can still get the carryover and the benefit of the pull. So,
how did you get into the sport originally? Like, what made you start into powerlifting?
Oh, it wasn't my choice. I didn't want to be a powerlifter.
That was because your coach signed you up?
He literally signed me up for a meet, and he's like, "You're doing this." I didn't even know I was in a meet until like 2 weeks before, and then I won gold that day.
What? So what did he see? He just knew. He's like,
I don't know
me.
that he just knew. He's like, "This is it. This is the girl." Like, I don't know. I don't know what he thought.
Yeah, it came to him in a dream. He's like, "God damn, she's a champion." Whoa. So you owe him. You owe him huge, right?
Listen, yeah, Ryan made me, so I don't know. He knew that my competitive nature is what, as a powerlifter, anyone can be strong. You work hard enough, you can be strong. You don't have to be the strongest, but you can be strong.
Yeah.
It takes a certain type of sick person to be the best. So he sees, you know,
he's sick.
Yeah, it's like. You're competitive to the point of disgust. Like, how dare you? You know, like, so he and honestly, like, I would be before kind of Gleason Performance Training got big, which is my gym. He just had me and one other girl who really were like kind of interested in weight training. He convinced us that weight training will help us be skinny, and that's really what we cared about. So at the time, obviously, so that's why we were doing it. And I mean, Lauren, who's, you know, a friend of mine who's also in the sport, she was a swimmer at a D1 college, and she was like, you know, I just need to get strong so I could swim better. I was rehabilitating my injury, so I was like, listen, I need to also get better because I need to play soccer again. And then it just turned into him signing us up for a meet, and the rest is history, honestly.
Yeah, fuck soccer.
I was going to say, when was the last time you played soccer?
Eva, the soccer diva, doesn't have the same ring to it. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, listen, I wasn't great, but I was okay.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. So in terms of right now, you've been, you made a world team before. What was probably the number one, like the pinnacle moment for you that you're the most proud right now? Thus far,
winning last year's Arnold.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, no shit. I guess that would probably be the biggest.
Yeah.
What was your numbers at that, Arnold?
What were my numbers?
Yeah.
325, 171, 430. No, 425. Sorry.
See how deadlift or powerlifters always know their fucking numbers, eh? You can ask a powerlifter, bam, it comes.
What worth do you have if it's not your number?
That's right. You should know your numbers off the top of your head. And always quote your best ones. You throw away your shitty meets like they were exhibitions.
Notice I was like 430, but it wasn't. I just have to plug you guys in.
Yeah, sure.
We can keep going. This is long. It'll go.
Is there anybody you like to go head to head against? Like, is there anybody who fires you up in your competitions?
Okay, so lost my headphones. Hold on.
It's okay.
I'm like the worst podcast ever. I'm like, can I go to the bathroom? Can I plug my computer in? It's dying. Yeah, so there's kind of like there's three of us who were juniors at the same time that kind of were head to head for a long time. Alice and Victoria and I were kind of like always battling. And Victoria I look up to both of them. They're super strong lifters, super smart competitors. They are mentally tough. So I love competing against them. And in terms of like, you know, ability, we've all kind of just like been on each other's toes the whole time. So it's really fun to compete against them. And I think for the future, like that's kind of like where the future is going. Like we're going to be, I mean, Victoria's taking kind of a break to do CrossFit because she wants to be fit and whatnot. And she's crushing that too, like obviously. But so that's kind of, my favorites are between myself, Alice, and Victoria for sure.
That's really, and you guys are all around 25 years old?
We're all around the same age, yeah, like 24, 25.
Here's the thing, 63 kilo. I mean, Kimberly Walford has been the shit for a while, obviously.
Yeah.
But Kimberly, I believe, born in 78?
78, yeah.
78, I think.
She's a 72 now, so she's a 72 kilo lifter now. So I'm like,
oh okay. yeah, that's right. Wait a second, no, we're talking Jen Thompson.
Yeah.
Even though okay, yeah. Yes. Now I'm mixing it up. So 63 is run by Jen Thompson. Yeah. So back this up. She's 43, right?
So 63 kilo class bench is run by Jen Thompson.
3 lift 2, right?
I mean, she has a very strong deadlift. She has a very strong squat. But you cannot compete with her bench. Like, there's just no competing with it.
No, well, so, that's just, nobody in any weight class world-wise.
No, exactly. So it's like without Jen's bench, she would just be like, she'd be competing, you know?
Yeah.
And then she comes in with her bench, we're all like, second place, third place, fourth,
right. I'll take second, thank you.
She benches what some people squat.
Yeah.
Like, that's legitimate.
I mean, I will not be surprised if she outbenches her squat someday.
Probably.
Will not be surprised.
And she's not slowing down either.
No, she's not.
You know?
And she's been, I have conversations with her from time to time, and she's the sweetest person. I love Jen.
We had her on here. You like her episode with us. She was really good.
Yeah.
She's so cool. I love her.
Yeah.
So, and she's constantly like, like, this isn't working, so I'm going to do this. This isn't working, so I'm going to do this. I don't like this, so I'm going to do this. Like, she's not afraid to, like, take risks, and that's so important when it comes to lifting. Like, I know you have to give things a chance, like, 6 to 12 weeks, make sure that it's working or not working. But, like, you can't be afraid to be like, oh, I'm going to wait 3 years to see if this works. Like, you have to move on, and she's not afraid to do that, which is so important.
Well, I think with her, too, it's her maturity. She's been competing for 19 years. Like,
since the 90s.
Like, there's a lot of people that are her age that can't say they competed for 19 years. She's been in the game a long time, and I don't think she walks out there and gets too nothing scares her. Like, she's going out and she goes out to have fun at this point. Like,
what would scare her? She was like, I think we're talking about internet trolls, and she's like, I don't really get bullied too much. I'm like, I think I believe you. Because you fucking bench press 320. Like, you're a tough person to bully at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, after, like, a video of, like, 20 college boys watching her in awe, like, how can you bully that? Like, no.
Shit. And I was going to say, so her being, like, 40, it looks like she can go on forever, okay?
And she will.
And she probably will be 63 years old and benching God knows what.
400.
Yeah, 400 or something. Yeah, she doesn't slow down. But at some point, she's got to peter off, and you guys, you 25-year-olds, are going to be the next generation.
You hope. I mean, there's 18-year-olds now who are peaking too, and it's like, it's wild. Like, as the sport grows, there's just more and more talent that's visible, and like people. So the things that I was learning when I was, 21, that's old news to them. Like, they're getting the best and the newest and the most current ideas and training and programming that they could. So it's only going to get better and better. You hope to be someone like Jen or Susie Hartwick or Marissa Inda or Bonica or
Liz Craven.
Kim Wofford. Yeah, Liz Craven. Oh my gosh, she's my favorite from Australia. Like, you hope that you can progress in the manner that they have and still be relevant when you're at, they're not old. They're not old, especially in the sport. Like, women don't even peak in lifting until their early to mid 30s. Mm-hmm. But, you hope that you can compete with them when you're their age and still compete with the younger people when you're their age and do well.
And you got to watch that transition from other feds, too, because you see people, like, if you're not watching, all of a sudden somebody slips over into your fed that you're not paying attention to.
Where the hell did this guy come from? Like, John Hack
prime
came
example.
out of nowhere. Like, everyone thought Brett Gibbs is going to be on top forever. Then John Hack comes over and is like, hey, man, let me give this a go. And it's like, holy shit, man. Like, where'd this guy come from?
Yeah, he's just like, 700-pound pull.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's nuts. Especially, you kind of touched up on it. The sport is getting so big now. So some people, even from other sports, previously wouldn't even think about powerlifting, and then they could be like A-class athletes that can pick things up quick, and they'd be like, I'm gonna try this out. Then boom, you have an instant contest.
Especially as the sport grows now. I mean, like with social media and stuff like that. I mean, it was unheard of 10 years ago, and now that's all you see in your feed.
People are becoming like minor celebrities. A little bit.
Yeah.
100,000 people here and there. Like, it's it's getting bigger and bigger.
Social influencer.
That's a good term. They're becoming influencers. Yeah, well,
her fitness influencer. Like, one of my good friends, Meg, you have to have heard of Meg Squats, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
Good friend of mine. She's a sweetheart, really strong, super smart. She literally writes on her stuff like fitness influencer. And I'm like, Meg, like, you can write powerlifter, like, you're strong enough to write that. She's like,
You're strong. It's legit. It's good.
Yeah, like you're legit. But I think like in her mind, it goes so much more beyond just powerlifting. Like she sees herself beyond any niche, and that's also important. You know, like she sees herself in terms of like reaching out to CrossFitters and reaching out to powerlifters and weightlifters and people who are just trying to lose weight and people who are trying to gain weight. Like she is so broad, and that's important. There's people coming from our sport who are more than the sport itself, you know what I mean? Like they're able to help others beyond it, which is cool.
And one thing about powerlifting, we take everybody. Like everybody comes from so many backgrounds, all different shapes, sizes, ages.
Some with zero athletic, like
some people with zero athletic ability can kill it in powerlifting.
Came from nothing.
Yeah, and come from nothing and be like, holy shit, I found something that I could crush now.
Like I was playing Zelda yesterday, and today I lifted 450. Like, okay,
that's right. Well, and that's real. Yeah,
we did an interview with Isabella von Weisenberg, and she was saying she used to be a party girl, and then within 2 years start crushing
world records. Man. Like, some people just pick it up, and then you never know. Like, well, that's the thing.
Some people don't stop partying, and they still crush a world record.
hey, now all inclusive.
I think that's my go-to now, right?
That's your hashtag. Nice.
So you touch base on social media. What do you think a pro and a con of how much you see of the social media now?
Yeah, there's.
What do I think? What I think of what?
Like
Sorry, repeat that.
Can you give a pro and a con of how much you see?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I mean, pro obviously is exposure, like actually introducing people to the sport and making them aware of the fact that like you can be more than you put your mind to. Obviously, in terms of like promoting women in the sport, I'm super big into that. And, I've always been someone who's like, listen, if you're adamant about doing something and you put your mind to it, go for it, follow it, compete. If you don't want to compete, great, just train, whatever you want to do. I think there's a lot of positivity in terms of making connections with people all around, not only the country, but around the world in terms of, promoting the sport and also just promoting fitness in general. There's this huge kick in fitness right now that wasn't in existence, even 10 years ago. The whole diabetes crisis that the United States is facing right now, and this is helping to beat that, at least in some way. I know it's like, anti-cardio. I mean, if you're squatting like reps of, if you're doing like 12 sets of 3, like that's still hard. Your heart is still working, especially if you're like on a minute rest. I mean, I know it's not perfect, but at least it's getting people moving, and it's the support that's coming from it is important. A con of social media, I guess, is people. I guess that it's kind of twofold. One, people see me as more. I mean, in terms of how I'm thinking about me, I'm not even like as big as a lot of the other people, but I'm just literally like a regular person. I work like a 9-to-5 job, and I lift in my spare time. It's like my hobby. It's my passion. But that's what it is. That's what it equates to. Like, I'm no different than anyone else. I just bust my ass in and out of the gym every day because I care about it. It doesn't mean that I'm any better than anyone else. I think people personify it as like, oh my God, she's so good. Like, how is she so good? Why aren't I that good? You can be. You have to just put in the time and the effort. Also, in that regard, people just shit on each other for no reason. Like, why are you... It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like, true. There's a lot of negativity.
That's like, if you don't understand it, if you don't agree with it, just don't comment. Like, just move on. Move past the post. You don't go at... And I see this on people's Instagrams or like Facebooks who... They're literally like, oh, I ran a mile today. Like, it doesn't even have to be powerlifting. I ran a mile today for the first time in 5 years. Yeah. That's why you're so fat. like barking at
That's why you're so fat.
It's like this person is actually trying. Yeah. It's like this person's actually trying to better themselves, and you're gonna shit on them. Like, what are you doing? You're at your computer right now, So it's I don't know. There's good and bad, obviously, but I think the important thing to take out of the fact that social media is so prominent right now is that people are actually out there to help you. Like, you might comment on their video or photo or whatever, and if they have a ton of followers, they might not get back to you, but like, shoot them an email. Like, if they have an email available, they're going to come back. They're going to get back to you. If you're like genuinely looking for help, like, these people want to help you. They're not going to put themselves out there just to ignore you, So I think as a whole, all of the people who at least I'm in contact with have a good heart, have a good mind, and they're looking to help you not only in fitness, but in also just being a better prepared person for the world in general. Like, powerlifting, I always talk about this, is completely applicable to like my life outside of lifting, and so much of my character traits come from the fact that I am disciplined and love lifting. You know, I'm passionate and disciplined, and I think it's building, especially with the youth, it's building such good people, and that's important. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it can be a metaphor for so many other things, because as much as you put in, you get out, you train hard, you get the rewards, you have a numerical value attached to all your progress, and you can see it. Okay, if I bust my ass, like you were saying, 2 hours a day after work, you could hunt down these goals. Teaches you hard work pays off, right? And goal setting, prioritizing, etc. For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely teaches a little bit of discipline. I hear you on the negativity with social media. Honestly, you will have people who are so brave when it's social media, they'll talk to somebody who's like world record breaking, you know, she's squatting, whatever, and some dudes will be like running their mouth at her. It's like, dude, what the shit? She's a world champion, man. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, my favorite is like when a girl squats like let's say like a I don't know, 57 kilo girl is squatting like 340 or something.
Yeah.
They're like, that booty. It's like she just squatted 340 and all you can look at is her ass. Like,
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Like, it blows my mind, but I'm just like, listen, you appreciate what you want to appreciate. Well, okay.
But you know what's kind of funny about it is that with the sites we run, I find most of the trolling is not from lifters. Like, it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's mostly from people in the. I think a lot of the trollers are people who want to know more that just don't really know how to approach it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're people who might potentially feel bad about themselves and what they're doing just because they're not educated enough to be doing 100%. It the correct way. And that's fixable. You know, that's the thing. It's like, you can get better, just ask for the help rather than, you know, shitting on people. So. Oh
yeah, like for trolling, you post a big arch or a sumo deadlift, and that's when it starts. Like,
I have a theory. So guys who see a girl like Ewa deadlifting the 400s, if that's what they're deadlifting and they're like a 200-pound dude, they have to find a reason.
They gotta rectify it.
They gotta find a reason that it was sumo. So it's like, dude, shut up, man.
So it's like, bro, I could pull 400 conventional too.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's true too.
But I think we touched on that a little bit with Jen Thompson. I think that's one of the reasons she doesn't get smashed is because she's got very little arch.
Surprisingly,
like everything about her is, and I think that.
What are you gonna say then?
That's what I mean. I think it's pretty hard because I mean, whenever you see someone with an arch, man or woman, it gets destroyed.
Yeah.
By trollers, and then her. I mean, they can't really. What are they gonna say?
Everybody falls silent.
Yeah.
Like, where's everybody at now? Nobody's talking shit. I was like, okay, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's when it's interesting. It's like someone like Jen who can, you know, put up probably, 80 to 100-pound dumbbells, like flat back, and she's like, okay, what? She's like, like, you know, so people just don't talk. I mean, and like, how do you say something to Jen Thompson? Like, how freaking nice she looks, and like, she literally looks like the sweetest person on earth. Like, you can't say anything to her.
And out of all the people we interviewed,
and she's clearly educated. You know what I mean? Like, and it says something. Like, people generally, I feel like, don't say anything to Kim either because, like, you just know your place when they've been in the game for that long. For someone like you know, a lot of the younger lifters, people are like, oh, she's young, she doesn't know what she's doing, she's a young girl. Neglecting the fact that we have coaches and we have mentors and we have sponsors and we have people who are there helping us and guiding us and teaching us. And we do our own research too. Like how many articles have I read / written / podcasts recorded / videos watched? Like, I go to bed listening to videos and podcasts. Like, you know, it's inherent in my nature to be doing this. And that's not unlike the best lifters like Kim or Jen, but people don't necessarily pick them out because they are, I think, one, better at portraying their skill and better at kind of like ignoring the shaming, you know what I mean? So like, it's not even like picked up, whereas I'm someone who's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Don't feed the trolls.
Exactly. Right? The more you pay attention to it, the worse it gets. So I'm kind of like learning from them and trying to ignore a lot of that. So.
Well, some people are just looking for the notoriety of if you start talking back, then all of a sudden people start looking to see who you're talking to, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that.
Dude, it's like it's only 40,000 people. Like, yeah, sure, that's a lot, but at the same time, like, there's people who have like 500 million. Like,
that's crazy.
You know, like, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that bad. So
yeah. So how often, you were just saying that, like, you go to sleep listening to podcasts, you've read dozens of articles, like tons of articles, write articles. How obsessed with powerlifting are you? How knee deep, like, in terms of, dive into your mind, is this like something that you think about every day? It's like a huge part of your life, no? Like, how often do you think about powerlifting, do you think?
Wait, but are you actually asking me?
For real. Because I think I think to a certain extent, you can lose yourself in this game. It gets so addicted to just think about it all the time.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Greg Nuckols, but there was literally a day where I spent probably 9 hours straight just reading his articles.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because I was like, oh my god, I have to catch up. Like, I'm going to Juggernaut. He's gonna be there. I need to know everything. So I go crazy. I mean, I'm a huge nerd as it is. I read a lot. I like to listen. I'm a good listener in terms of I retain information through listening and reading. So when I'm able to listen, it keeps my mind busy. So a lot of what I do is Chad has the Jug Life podcast. I listen to that. I listen to, obviously, you guys do one. I've touched base before I agreed to this. So
good.
There's a ton, and obviously Mark Bell, they're huge. So there's a lot that I talk to, Chrissy May all the time, and a lot of people just give me a ton of information, and then I research what they give me. So honestly, obsessed is a good word. I would say if you ever want to be good at anything, if you're not obsessed with it, you're not doing it right.
And that's the truth. Like, if you ask a guy like Michael Jordan in his prime, that was it, man. He was obsessed. If you're gonna make it, and it's tougher because obviously we're a hobby sport. You're not gonna make your money off of it unless you're Chad Wesley Smith, maybe. But not many of us are gonna be able to make money off of powerlifting. So it's one of those passions you have to have. You have to just love it, and it's tough to be obsessed like that when you're not gonna necessarily make a bank off it. Do you coach people?
What's that?
Do you coach people?
Yeah, so I have 4 clients right now, and I'm training them under Gleason Performance Training. So, I know Chad has the Juggernaut online coaching, and he has a ton of, really good people. My coach, Ryan, needed some assistance, so I was like, hey, Brian, I'll help you out in that. Both of those are really good venues to go to. They're very competent people. So I have 4 beginner females who I'm training, and they're, I think, loving it, and I love training them. So it is good. I wish I had all the time in the world to invest in it and to invest in them. But I do work a 9 to 5 kind of job. And I care about my work as well. So it's it's a double-edged sword. I try to put in as much effort as possible and balance eating and showering and training people.
Yeah. Do you get something different from it when you're coaching people? Do you see yourself in the future at some point, if you're done lifting yourself, continue coaching, or do you think you're going to be that girl?
No. Yeah, it'll never end. It's ingrained forever. So. And
do you see yourself as that 55-year-old master still in the game, or do you think you'll just move into just coaching?
Listen, as long as my hips are working, I'm in the game.
That's it. There you go. Well said.
Another exclusive.
They're all inclusive. Sweet. So how would you like to be remembered in the game?
Oh God, that's such a crazy question.
You're only 25, so that's a tough one for 25.
I know. How would I like to be remembered? I think it's kind of stupid to say, but I want to be remembered as someone who was a kind competitor. In terms of the fact that people respect me, you know what I mean? There's people who you compete with, they're like, oh, that's a douche. I hope I never have to compete with that person again. Yeah. And then there's those people where you compete with, you're like, yes, I know this person's going to push me. I know that they support me no matter what, but I know they're going to give me a run for my money, those legends. And I want to be that person.
Because there's so many people, they say you never want to meet your heroes, because sometimes you meet them, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, you are athletic, but you are not a good person. Exactly. Right? I totally hear you. Is there any sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to?
Of course. Okay, so obviously Juggernaut Training Systems and Chad Wesley Smith, because they're my heart and soul. And then obviously also Ryan Gleason and Gleason Performance Training. And then RP, Nick Shaw is actually my one-on-one nutrition coach, so Renaissance Periodization, and then Trifecta Nutrition Systems. And they're providing me with a lot of my food. And honestly, like without them, I would probably weigh like 190 pounds right now. I'm not even joking. Like when it comes to high stress times and you just get a box of food and you're like, oh, yes, I don't have to grocery shop. Like it's like your whole world. Yeah. So so those are my people.
Sounds good. Thanks very much for doing the podcast with us. You're great. You're funny, informative. Love to have you back in the future.
Oh, for sure. I would love to be back.
Okay.
And thank you guys for having me, as always.
No problem. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Oh, you too. Thanks.
She was pretty fun. She's high energy. I like that.
Yeah, she is extremely high energy.
You know what I notice about the girls that we interview? They're not afraid to, like, if you say, like, first off, if you say, like, any rivals out there, always coming from, like, a positive tip. We asked about a rival, but she's saying it in terms of, like...
It's a positive rivalry.
Yes!
Like, they want to compete because it's close, it's head-to-head, and they're probably backstage cheering each other on, you know, because one of them's got a bigger squat, one of them's got a bigger bench, one of them's got a bigger dead, or you're going against that person with the same dead as yours. Like,
And then also, they're not afraid to, like, give it up to other girls as much. They're not so, like... They approach the game in terms of ego a lot differently, right? They don't...
Well, sometimes, and even in some of these interviews, I find some of the guys, like, they're like, oh, you know, so-and-so. They know.
You know his fucking...
You know, yeah, that's what
you know his fucking
You know his name. It's above your bed on the roof. You're just thinking of fucking slaughtering him in the next competition.
That's right. You know, fuck you guy.
Yeah, when they say that, though, the first thing is, like, you're trying to... I don't know, even me sometimes, I have a hard time not saying it to them. It's like, really? You don't know the person? The person who beat you at the only big competition you've been at. Like, how do you... Yeah, no, it was interesting with her. Like, there's a lot of good stuff she was talking about. High energy. She's got a long ways to go in the game, too. Like, she's young.
25, man.
Yeah.
And she was saying, it was interesting, you know, she was saying a lot of the women are peaking at, like, 35 and up. And it's true. You know, when we look at some, like Marissa Anda and Liz Craven were in the 52 kilo class, where they're trading back and forth who's positioned at number one with their totals. And they're both 40 and up. You know what I mean? It's nuts, man. And then weight 63 kilo, 43-year-old Jen Thompson. I think Kimberly Walford is born 78. I think she's a year older than me. I'll put her at 38, man. These girls are, and they're like peaking. They're peaking.
Kimberly, I'm pretty sure, is 39 this year.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, she's moving into like, these are all master lifters who are just like, they're like hitting their peaks right now. They're just still hitting PRs. They're not like falling off. So, I mean, yeah, man, her at 25 is like a puppy. So then when you say to yourself, like I was saying, oh, well then, you know, eventually there'll be the changing of the guard. But she was right when she said, fuck, maybe, but people will come out of the woodwork. Like, who the hell knows who's 21 right now, and when they're 23, they're about to rip shit up.
Or it's like I said, different feds. You never know.
Different feds, different sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People just, all of a sudden, because powerlifting now is an option, where previously, you didn't even think about powerlifting. I remember, you know, back when I first started, like, most people were like, what's powerlifting? You had to explain to them and stuff. Yeah, you'd be like the only powerlifter you knew. You were like the token powerlifter.
It's definitely more well known now, but you still have to explain it, because a lot of people think it's Olympic lifting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, like, if I told people I powerlifted, I was like the only guy I knew who would powerlift. I would go to, like, if you go to a party, go to wherever, you will never meet another powerlifter. You only knew the guys who you trained with, they were powerlifters. Now, it's not a big deal to run into, oh yeah, I powerlift too, or whatever. That doesn't shock me anymore at all.
Or at least people have a clue of what it is.
Or they can wrap their mind, yes, guys from my gym powerlift, I know what it is. Yeah, exactly. It's nowhere near as, like, crazy, man. And that's a lot of it, social media is helping, and then the IPF going raw. When the IPF went raw, that boom with the dynamite. But anyways, we touched up on all that before, but yeah. Good interview, man. Glad we had her on. She had some good insights into deadlifting. That's 3 times a week, variations of, anyways, block pulls. You know, some people don't like block pulls. She's a block puller.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, she has a lot of different stuff she's doing. But we have yet to find any two people in these interviews that are remotely close in programming.
Dude, everybody's all over the place.
It's all over the place, and I mean, nobody we know we've done yet does 3 days a week deadlifting.
I know.
Or variations, at least of it.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's fucking, you know the saying, the more you know, the less you know? I swear to God, I'm like what, we've talked to so many world champions, national levels, world record holders, whatever. Like, what have you pulled from it? I'm like, I don't fucking even know. I don't know. This person does mostly triples. This person mostly fives. This person's all volume. This person's 1 day a week. Any more than that, you deadlift, you're overtaxing. This person's threes. It's like,
Leroy does 200 to 400 rep ranges.
Yeah, man, for bench press. It's like, I don't know what the... And then he'd be like, no pin press, no whatever. Obviously, Jen Thompson, phenomenal bencher. Heavy holds, pin press. So it's like... And then you talk like Joey Flex, like amazing
no partials.
Coach. No partials, no boards. Like, so it's like fucking, you don't know. And they all proof is important. They all have the numbers to back them.
You know, one thing I will touch base on, though, is I asked her about that coaching thing because I was watching that come up, the Coach of the Year. They put it up, so there's 10 top coaches. There's a lot of coaches that didn't get put on that list.
So the aforementioned Joey Flex wasn't on there. Mike T, who with RTS, crazy. He coaches tons of people. He coaches Brett Gibbs. Coach, I don't know, fuck, I'm not going to be able to go through his whole roster off the top of my head, but like there's a lot of coaches that didn't make that. That's kind of a bullshit poll if you leave off some of the biggest names. That's like...
Well, it would have been interesting to see them put up the poll of who do you think should be the top 10 coaches and see what that name drop ended up being.
Of course, it's a lot harder if you get like 1,000 submissions and like 1,000 people reply.
I understand that, but I mean, like it just, or yeah, a little bit bigger. Here's our top 30. Yeah. You guys narrow it down to the top 10 or whatever, but I think...
How do you miss some of these people? Like, okay, just for another analogy here. Like, I'm a rap guy. So Jay-Z won this award, exact same thing as a poll, Rapper of the Year. And Jay-Z said, thank you very much for voting me, whatever. But with all due respect, no poll holds weight if Eminem wasn't on the list. So it's kind of like, thank you, I accept it because all you guys voted. But the fact that Eminem wasn't on a list to be voted on makes the poll a fucking joke. And that's where you get into, if you forget a couple names, even the person winning's like, well, thank you, I appreciate that. But the fact that this guy and that guy weren't on there, or this girl and that woman weren't on there means, fuck, man, it's kind of, you're somewhat limited it. So, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get super into that.
Yeah, it's not for our politics.
It's fun.
It's not our politics, and it's something else. But
maybe Chad Wesley would win anyways, maybe whatever. But
I just want to touch base on it. I mean, there's a lot of good coaches on there. Don't get me wrong that the top 10 on there aren't good coaches, but it's just, I think there's some that deserve to be on there.
Some big names that were left off. There's some big names left off that were kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But, whatever, no poll. You know what? Anytime you do a poll, you get people pissed off. I'm sure, like, we already talked about doing polls, and we're going to do polls in the future. We're going to piss some people off, and that's half the fun.
Yeah.
That's half the fun, man. That's how you get people talking.
Well, the other
Fuck you and your poll.
I'll tell you what.
You hear about that poll? Nobody would have talked about your poll until you leave somebody off. You hear about that fucking poll?
Well,
let me tell you about it.
It's no different than our sites. We can post whatever. The first time we fuck up someone's pounds or kilos, we got 700 comments coming through.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, it's that. Yeah. But the one thing about it is, though, we don't catch everyone. We've said it before on here. Like, we don't catch everyone. We're trying to, but it's a good way to find out because I tell you, when we miss that person on the top 10, everyone starts saying, "Why didn't you say this person?"
They're gonna let you know.
We just found them.
At least when we did our year-end awards,
yeah,
we had people vote, so it wasn't us.
And the other part about that, I don't think a lot of people knew at our year ends. We had people voting from every Fed.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, that's when we told Jen Thompson, I go, "Hey, listen, there were like 300-pound men in the untested division who were, when we asked who's the best bencher, like Jen Thompson."
Yeah,
she's like, "Really?" Because you would think like these guys look up to me. Like, some of these guys like it's got to be Jen Thompson. Like that's pretty cool. Like a lot of sports, the male athletes don't support the females. Like, whether it's NBA, WNBA, whether they don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But in powerlifting, and Jen Thompson was saying, it's kind of cool how the men do support the women, and they will give hats off. They'll even draw inspiration from them, and so.
Yeah, Jen and Kimberly. Kimberly got it too.
Kimberly was almost damn near unanimous as well.
For
Deadlifter of the Year, by a lot of dudes are like, it's got to be Kimberly. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think, yeah, if we had just taken her overall deadlifter, she might have won that too. We had a lot of votes come in for her. So, but anyways, thanks a lot, guys. We're out.